She loved me, just not enough to stay. Reddit story. Have you ever been loved, but still felt like you weren't being chosen? Have you ever looked into someone's eyes and seen softness, warmth, affection, but never commitment? This isn't a story about being unloved. It's about being loved in pieces, at the wrong time, in the wrong way. Tonight, we tell Ryan's story, a man who was loved, but never fully held, never fully chosen. And he learned that love without presence still leaves you lonely. Have you ever been loved, but still felt like you weren't being chosen? Have you ever looked into someone's eyes and seen softness, warmth, affection, but never commitment? This isn't a story about being unloved. It's about being loved in pieces, at the wrong time, in the wrong way. Tonight, we tell Ryan's story, a man who was loved, but never fully held, never fully chosen, and he learned that love without presence still leaves you lonely. Ryan met Ella at a bookstore. They argued over which author was overrated. He said Hemingway. She said Murakami. That conversation turned into coffee, then into months of sharing playlists, laughing at 2 a.m. and holding each other like the world outside didn't exist. Ella said, "You make me feel calm, like I'm not too much," and Ryan felt safe. Like maybe this was the kind of love that stayed. But there were cracks. Small at first. She canceled plans last minute, needed space, after arguments, said things like, "I'm scared of needing you too much." I've never had something healthy before. Ryan understood. He waited, gave her room, held back his fears so hers wouldn't grow, but over time, he realized he was always reaching. She only came close when she felt brave enough, and that bravery never stayed long. She told him she loved him and he believed it. But love that disappears when it's needed doesn't feel like love. It feels like hope, slowly dying. And one day, after she pulled away again, he didn't chase. She texted, "You're quieter than usual. Are we okay?" He replied, "You love me, I know that. But I need more than love. I need someone who stays." This wasn't about right versus wrong. It was about timing, about readiness, about emotional availability. Ella didn't lie. She truly felt what she said, but she loved Ryan. From a distance, only when it was safe, only when it didn't cost her comfort. And Ryan, he needed someone who didn't need to disappear every time it got serious, because love, that only shows up on good days, isn't love, it's convenience. He wasn't asking for perfection. He was asking for presence, for someone who stayed close. Not just when it felt easy, but when it felt scary too. And when she couldn't offer that. He stopped asking, not because he stopped loving her, but because he finally accepted that love isn't just about how someone feels about you, it's about how they show up for you. This story struck a deep chord on Reddit, because so many people weren't abandoned by hate. They were slowly faded out by people who loved them but never stayed, or loved but not. Chosen commented, "She didn't break my heart. She just never fully held it." 98K likes. And sometimes that's even harder to recover from. You when love is fearful shared. She loved me with hesitation. I needed someone who loved me with both feet in 91K likes, because love isn't supposed to feel like maybe. Leaving. Without leaving wrote, "She never said goodbye, but her absence kept growing, and that said enough." 4K likes. Not all exits come with doors. Some come in slow silence. You love needs more than words said. She said she loved me, but love without action is just noise. 8. 9K likes. And Ryan. He finally stopped listening to noise that never turned into presence. Ryan's story is a reminder that being loved is not the same as being chosen. That someone can love you, but still not be ready to love you right. And sometimes, walking away from almost love is the bravest thing you'll ever do, Chuyen. They didn't leave, but they were never fully with me. Have you ever been in a relationship where they never left, but it still felt like they were gone, where they answered every message, were there every night, but you still felt lonely, even while holding their hand? This isn't a story about being abandoned. It's about being surrounded and still feeling unseen tonight. We tell Alex's story, a man who didn't lose his partner. He just slowly realized she had never fully arrived. Alex met Samantha through mutual friends. She was kind, reliable, easy to talk to. Things moved quickly. Dinner dates turned into weekend trips. Late-night calls became shared mornings. She did all the right things. Texted good morning, remembered appointments, kissed him before bed. But something was missing. Something quiet, but heavy. When Alex spoke about his dreams, she smiled, but never asked questions. When he cried once, she rubbed his back, but didn't ask what hurt. He noticed she was there, but not engaged, present, but not connected. He brought it up one night gently. "Do you feel distant from me?" She replied, "No, not at all. I'm here, aren't I?" And that was the loneliest sentence he'd ever heard, because she was right. She was there, but not in the way that mattered. This wasn't neglect. It wasn't coldness. It was emotional invisibility. Samantha did everything except feel. And Alex? He didn't need grand gestures, just presence that actually showed up emotionally, not just physically, because you can lie next to someone, share meals, laugh at the same shows, and still feel utterly alone. Alex didn't walk away because she left. He walked away because he realized he was the only one, truly, in the relationship. This story struck a nerve on Reddit because many people have stayed with someone who never really stayed with them. "You present, but not with me," B commented. She didn't leave, but her heart was always somewhere else. 9 on 4K likes. And that's a kind of absence. You can't explain, but you do always feel a quiet loneliness. Is the worst shared, "I was lonely next to her." That hurt more than being alone. 8 and 9K likes, because presence without connection is just another kind of silence. I was never held, fully wrote. She held my hand, but never held my world. 1K likes. And love isn't about physical closeness. It's about emotional weight. The absent lover said. She never left. She just never looked at me like I was truly there. 2K likes. And sometimes the worst kind of heartbreak is the one that happens while they're still in the room. Alex's story is a quiet kind of grief, not because something ended, but because something never fully began. You don't have to leave to make someone feel abandoned. All it takes is showing up with your body and not your heart. Chuyen, I didn't lose her. I lost myself. Loving her. Have you ever looked in the mirror and realized you didn't recognize yourself anymore? Have you ever loved someone so deeply that you shrank to fit the version of you they were comfortable with? This isn't a story about betrayal or infidelity. It's about self-abandonment, done quietly, in the name of love. Tonight, we tell Liam's story, a man who didn't lose her, Not at first. He lost pieces of himself in the slow process of keeping someone who was never fully holding him back. Liam met Julia during his best season. He had friends, passions, a full laugh, a full life. And then she came in with fire, curiosity, and a certain sadness that made him want to fix everything. She told him she'd never been truly safe, so he became her safe place. He listened, softened his words, held her pain gently, but somewhere along the way, he stopped laughing as loud, stopped seeing friends, stopped doing the little things that used to make him, Julia. Never asked him to change, but she flinched when he was too honest, went quiet when he talked too much about his dreams. So he adjusted piece by piece, until one night he caught his own reflection in the mirror. Eyes tired, voice smaller, and he whispered, "Where did I go?" That night Julia asked if everything was okay, and he smiled, because by then he had gotten too good at pretending it was. This wasn't about blame. Julia didn't destroy Liam. He slowly chipped away at himself, trying to make the relationship work. He thought that's what love was. Sacrifice, adaptation, compromise. But what he was doing was disappearing, not because she demanded it, but because he loved her so much. He forgot that he mattered too, and that's a form of heartbreak that doesn't explode, it erodes. You don't realize it's happening until the version of you that used to feel alive goes silent, and by the time you notice, it's already been gone for a while. This story struck a chord on Reddit because so many people didn't get left by someone else. They just left themselves behind, trying to be loved. I disappeared. For them, commented, "She never broke me. I did that on my own, trying to keep her." 1K likes. And that's the kind of break that comes quietly and stays longer. I used. To be louder shared, "I lowered my voice so she'd stay. One day I realized I was whispering into nothing." 3K likes MC. And when you have to shrink just to be loved, that love isn't home. It's a cage. Didn't, Leave just faded wrote, "By the time she left, there wasn't much of me left anyway." 0K likes. And sometimes the most painful goodbye is the one you say to yourself. When love costs you. You said, "You shouldn't have to lose yourself to prove you're worthy of staying." 7K likes. And Liam? He finally remembered that loving someone shouldn't require you to go missing. Liam's story isn't just about heartbreak. It's about coming home, not to someone else, but to yourself. Because love should never ask you to stop being who you are. And if it does, it's not the kind you should fight for. It's the kind you survive.